Hey, what's going on, Wealthy Legacy Journeyers? Welcome back to the Wealthy Legacy Journey. I'm your host, Kendell Liden, and the title of today's episode is, well, I jumped out of the boat. And I have some practical, things I want to share on that and some other really cool aspects that I want to share on that title and what it means as we dig deeper. One of the first places practically in my life that I jumped out of the boat, when I say boat, I kind of mean the standard way of doing things like everybody else does, living life the way everybody else does, the 9 to 5 job, climbing the corporate ladder, and the 401k and the retirement plan. And obviously, my life is not structured that way. I don't think I could do that for the rest of my life. It would drive me crazy. I know other people say it would drive me crazy, but they're still able to do it. It literally drives me bonkers. I mean, holding down a normal job now for a little over a year and a half has been probably one of the more difficult things that I have done. That doesn't mean I don't like to work. Ask my wife, ask my family. I put in some long hours. I will put in some hard work, but I just don't like being told what to do, I guess. I don't really know. Um, one of the places though that I jumped out of the boat was 6 years ago. So actually, this past Wednesday, from this past week, November 13th, was my 6 year anniversary in real estate. I know we had talked about it a couple episodes back. It popped up on my calendar, and that was when I bought my first course. I remember it very clearly. I was trying to figure out, do I want to do like real estate investing or stocks or, what are all the options out there? And I stumbled across this dude named Cody Spurber, who's very much in the, initial phase of building up his brand and his business. Now 6 years later, he's built a very successful and strong company. But at that point, they were not a big team yet. And he had this course about wholesaling. I'd never heard of wholesaling, didn't know what it was. I didn't know a lot of the real estate lingo. I didn't know what ARV what meant. I didn't know what, rehab was. I mean, I knew what, fixing up a house was, but I didn't know what, rehab. I didn't know anything about rehab budgets. I didn't know what 70% ARV meant. I didn't know, what assignments meant. I didn't know what double closes meant. There were so many different things. I was just like completely green to this. And I remember like that was the moment where Libby and I jumped out and we're like, we want to build something more. And that's what we were going to try to build something more off of. Another thing that I wanted to share here with you guys, sorry, I just wanted to get that silence for that. Another thing is, another place we've jumped out of the boat recently has been on the stocks. Whenever we invested, what's it, I think $3,000. We invested 3,000. My dad and my parents invested 3,000. We went on it together 50-50. We both been me and my dad have been trying to learn everything that we can, soaking it all up. This is not our first venture inside of stocks. At the very beginning of the Wealthy Legacy journey, I was talking about the bot a lot, which was an algorithm that we had built for over a year to trade the stock market. We eventually had to shut that down, and both of us had to go get jobs after working on that full time for over a year. Such a difficult thing. Um, but now that we've been just doing stocks, we've been getting some traction. And actually, I was super excited to share. I had some notes here. I had some notes here of things that I wanted to share as of yesterday. So yesterday was actually my number one all-time best trading day to date. And I was so pumped about it. I made 61.5%. I was up, 6,000, I think it'd be $6,150 in one day. And the crazy part about that is I was actually 60% down on my first trade in the morning. Really hurt me bad. My goal after that was I'm just going to keep plugging away at trades. If I can just get close to break even, and this will be my first down day, it'll be a loss, but that'll be okay. And then I remember watching it, I was down like 6 grand, then I was down 5,400. Well, I take that back actually. I know I was down closer to 6 grand. After that first loss, though, I knew I was down pretty bad. And I didn't even allow myself to look at how bad I was. I just knew that I needed to take a step back, take a breath, and start taking some good trades forward. So I had to be around 6,000 down, maybe a little bit more. After a couple trades going right, I checked, I was $5,400 down. I still was like, dang, that's such a heavy blow. Okay, I can recover from this. But my expectation was if I'm just down like 20% on the day, it'll be okay. It'll be my first red day of November, but you're always going to have red days. This is just a fact of life. I'm going to have to work through this. This will be a great lesson for me. This will be a great lesson to share about in the Wealth Legacy journey. And I'm just going to do my best today. Well, next thing I know, as I'm trading, I get to 4,500, and then I was down 2 grand, and then I was down $900. I was like, wow, I might actually be able to get to break even today. Then I was up $300, and it was like, okay, we're actually in the green. I don't have to lose my streak. And I thought about stopping right there, but I could feel this rhythm going. I was like, I'm going to keep going. Next thing you know, I was up 1,500, 2,500, 4,000. 5,000 like 300 something like that, and I ultimately capped out at 6,150, and that's when I called it. I was like, I'm done. It was a fantastic comeback. I could feel the market wasn't just continuing to go my way as strong anymore, and I was like, okay, boom, like done. Wow. To go from a 60% loss to a 61.5% gain was huge. I've been putting so much time and energy and effort into trading, putting a lot of extra free time into learning, into the training for this trading. I mean, talking about stepping out of the boat to do something. And as we, are building profitability and looking at putting our real money into it, is like, I'm a little hesitant because if you remember last week, I ended up bumping up my max risk, like I had talked about last week, to $10,000, and that's been working really well this week. I have lowered. We're working on switching platforms to lower the cost of our commissions down. So I've been doing the math based off of what they say on X amount of contracts, the costs. I'm hoping that we can get that account set up this week and either next week or the week after. Sometime by the end of November, I'm actually full on trading in this new brokerage, and it has lower commission costs, but I've been accounting for it every day based on what they say their costs are. And I've been in the green. And that's been just absolutely amazing feeling. Then today, yesterday I'm recording this on Thursday. And, so Wednesday I had 61.4%. Well, today I was like, if I just make 20%, because on Monday I made like 7.5%, Tuesday it was 20%, Wednesday 60%, 61.5%. It was like all I had to make was something like 17% to have 100% for the week. And I was like, okay, that's my goal. I just want to make, 20%. As long as I make 20%, I'll be happy. Anything above that's just gravy. Man, guys, I went to trade today and it was crazy. I'll just tell you right now, I made over 100% in one day. In fact, I made one, let's see what it was. I sent a picture to somebody of the whiteboard. I made 107.6%. It was actually 107.63%. I made $10,763 today off of trading $10,000. Now, that doesn't count for the commissions. Commissions in this new brokerage we're going to would have been about $1,200. And so my actual profit would have been somewhere in like the $9,500 range. But I did that, guys, in like 60 minutes. It was sometime just after 9:30. It was like 9:30 and some change, maybe 9:38 or something like that, that I was done trading. So you're talking, I get to my computer this morning at 7:30. Market opens at 8:30. I trade from 8:30 to basically 9:40. And in that time, made over 100%. I made $9,500 in profits with $1,200 going towards commissions. It was somewhere in that ballpark. It's, rough, quick math. That felt amazing. I'll show you guys right here. This is the whiteboard. Oh, there's the camera. Can you see that? So we've got this whiteboard going. And so you can see, I don't think you're going to be able to see. It doesn't actually show the numbers well, but Monday, 7.5%, Tuesday, 21%, Wednesday, 61.5%, and Thursday, 107.6% for my week this week. I didn't just end up 100% up. I ended up 197.6% up, not accounting for commissions. My total now for November jumped. Last week I was at 109.33%. I am now at 306.93%. And Libby and I are actually going to have a little trip this weekend. And so I'm not even trading tomorrow, which is why I'm recording this today on a Thursday. So that, without even accounting for having a fifth day of the week, I'm up almost 200%. That's amazing. I didn't know I was going to have that day today. In fact, yesterday I thought it was going to be a down day. Today I was concerned because the market had changed. Was I going to lose money? Um, you know, was I going to be able to handle it? Was I going to be able to work my way through it? Libby and I, we've been going through some spiritual warfare lately too, and I'm not going to go deep into that, but just some struggles on the home front. And this weekend getaway is going to be really good for us and healthy for our marriage. But there was two stories that, as I was just trudging through some of the hardest aspects of this week, and this really ties back to jumping out of the boat. Two stories from the book of one from the book of Mark, one from the book of Matthew that I want to read and talk about and, correlating to what I've done over the last few years in real estate, what I'm doing right now in stocks and the leaps and the jumps that we're making. Let's start with Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. This is the NASB version out of the Bible. On that day, when evening came, he said to them, that'd be Jesus, let's go over to the other side. After dismissing the crowd, they took him along with him in the boat, just as he was, and the other boats were with him. And a fierce gale of wind developed, and the waves were breaking over the boat so much that the boat was already filling up with water. So these guys are in an intense storm. There's water coming over the sides of the boat. Like, anybody in your entrepreneur journey feel this way? I'm sharing this with you guys to give you guys hopefully some of you guys might be Christians, some of you guys might not be Christians. This is where I find my comfort. And I tell you what, if you don't know Jesus personally, I still hope there's a ton of value that you can get from the Wealthy Legacy journey. But I would encourage you take these stories that I'm telling you right now and see if it's something that would give you comfort. See if maybe the Jesus that I know, the relationship that I have with Jesus, I'm not talking about the religion of Christianity. I'm talking about the personal relationship with Jesus, if this would be impactful for you to have in your life. And yet Jesus himself was in the stern asleep on the cushion. So there's this huge storm going on, and Jesus is asleep on a pillow, just having the time of his life back there, having just a great cat nap. Disciples came over, they woke him, and they said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? They're like, dude, we're about to die. What are you sleeping for? And not even just sleeping, you're sleeping on a pillow. Like, you are chilled out. And Jesus immediately got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, Hush, be still. And the wind died down, and it became perfectly calm. And he said to them, Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith? They became very much afraid and said to one another, Who is this then, that even the wind and the sea obey him? So here's these guys are in the middle of a storm. Jesus is asleep on a pillow. They're freaking out a little bit. They go to Jesus, like, don't you even care? And Jesus gets up, and all he has to say is, Hush, be still. And the whole storm just stops. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this week I've been going through some storms. I have had some highs, and I'm so excited to share about those. There's some lows that are very personal that I'm not going to go deep into because I know this will be something that's widespread, but just stuff on the home front, and it's been hard. Yesterday I was already feeling in a funk because of the storm that I was going through. Whenever I got up to start trading, and then I ended up down 60%, I was still in that funk, and I could feel it. But yet I just leaned on the Lord. I just was like, Lord, would you give me wisdom? That doesn't mean that, in October I was down 739%. That doesn't mean that when I first kicked off the trading, we actually had real money. We lost like $6,000 in 1 week. Like, we've taken some serious blows, but every time I've reset, I've come back to Jesus and I said, you know what? Even though I'm in the middle of the storm, I'm not going to sit here and freak out. Jesus, are you about to let me die? Why? Because I know what Jesus has done for me in the past. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've been in real estate for 6 years, a little over 6 years now, 6 year mark being November 13th. My first time was November 13th, 2018. I've been hustling and grinding and working hard for this goal for over 6 years now. We've had our seasons of feasting, but man, I tell you what, we have had our seasons of famine, and it has been painful. Our seasons of want and lack, and wondering if this was all going to come down to a failure, if we were just going to fall flat on our face and we should just give up on this whole thing. But I had faith that even though I'm going through the storm of my life, Jesus is with me in this boat. Jesus will not let me perish. I just have to have a little faith. And I just have to keep going. Another story, Matthew 14:24 through 33. But the boat was already a long distance from the land. So that basically what had happened is there was a Sermon on the Mount. And then Jesus said, hey, I'm going to stay here and pray. He sent the disciples on ahead of him. He's like, I'm going to catch up with you guys. All right. So that's where we're at here. Matthew chapter 14:24, verse 24. But the boat was already a long distance from the land, battered by the waves. The wind was contrary. So here the disciples are in the middle of another storm. The Sea of Galilee is just known for epic storms coming across it very quickly at the turn of a dime. So this isn't necessarily uncommon. Several of these guys were fishermen, but even they were scared, right? They were scared in our first story, and they're scared here in our second story. In the fourth watch of the night, he came to them walking on the sea. So these guys are exhausted. I think if I remember right, fourth watch of the night, somewhere around like 3 a.m. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified and they said, "Ah, it's a ghost." They cried out in fear, but immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." Man, in those fearful moments of life, how often do we just need Jesus to say, "Take courage, it's I, do not be afraid." We can go, wow, that's where I can root my faith. Even though all this that I'm going through right now is insane, that's where I put my faith. Peter responded and said to him, "Lord, and if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." You realize what Simon Peter's saying here, saying, "Jesus, if this is you, even though we're in the middle of a storm, I want to get out of the place of safety and comfort and what I've known inside of this boat, and I want to get out and come to you and do something extraordinary. I want to experience a miracle for myself." And you know what Jesus said? He said, "Come." Peter got out of the boat, walked on the water, and came towards Jesus. Peter here is experiencing the miracle of a lifetime. All of a sudden, seeing the wind, Peter, became afraid and he began to sink and he cried out, saying, "Lord, save me," as he's slipping under the water. And immediately Jesus reached out with his hand, took a hold of him, and said to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got in the boat, the wind stopped. And those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, "You are truly God's son." But here's what I want to say that's so impactful there. Whether you know Jesus or not, I'm going to tell you a powerful thing about Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus, I would encourage you, make right now in this episode, just literally pause it right now and say, "Jesus, I want to know you like this. Would you show yourself to me? I want to become a disciple of Jesus." But you know what Jesus said? He said, "Peter, even though you're in the middle of a storm, if you would have maintained your faith and just kept your eyes on me, you would have been okay." So even this week, I had to encourage myself, especially when I was down Wednesday. I was about to end my winning streak. I had to take a breath, just say, you know what? Life is crazy right now. Today there's some crazy stuff going on in life. I just take this big loss after, slowly building my way up, pretty much wiped out my gains from this week right here on one trade. Can I keep going? And I just looked at Jesus and it was like, even though I see the winds and I see the waves and I see the storm, I'm going to trust in you. I've gotten out of this boat. I'm walking to my miracle. I'm walking towards my breakthrough. And I'm just going to have to keep my eyes on Jesus because I don't intend to drown in this storm. So I hope you take some encouragement from those verses because I did. Those verses came to me when I was in a very low moment earlier this week. They encouraged me through the difficult moments of this week. And I'm excited to say, it doesn't always work out this way, but I'm excited to say that I'm now on a 10-day winning streak from sniping after such a just tumultuous October. Learned some great lessons, moving forward in strength. And now I'm up over 300% in 2 weeks. Praise the Lord. So you guys have heard some stuff about stocks and real estate. Our progress on this project is going really well. I'm still working on this presentation. It has been a crazy week. I've been pretty much trading for like an hour and a half in the morning, and then I've had some just family stuff that I've had to deal with in the afternoon a couple of days this week. Hoping to get some more headway done on that project today because I want to do the very best. My team is entrusting me to build something here. I'm not going to let them down. And so I want to build something here that's really powerful for the team. I'm gonna be honest. My hope is that I get to be able to move forward in trading, and this is kind of the route that I'm now going. And that long term, I'm not in this group, but I still love these people. I still love the team. I appreciate everything that they've done for me, and I've appreciated being a part of this team. I don't want to leave them high and dry. I don't want to not follow through on my commitment, and so I'm still going to give this my all, and I still want to build an epic presentation. And maybe I continue moving that route. So I also don't want to burn a bridge here out of some excitement. But I will say that I'm very excited about the stocks. Had a great week with the stocks. I also learned about another thing, a 1.5 play, where basically if the market is gapping up, pre-market, and you can see the market makers basically undervalued the amount of change that would happen in that stock. You can do that by adding, you look at the strike price at where basically it closed, and you add together the ask on the call and the ask on the put, and you get your, max pain. That's how much it should be able to move up or down. And if it's moved up, at least 1.5 times that, then the market makers are going to get squeezed and have to start covering their positions right away. And it should just continue pushing the price that direction. Yesterday, I had a winning trade off of that, double my money picking my own trade. It's the logic from Nate Bear and D-Man over there in the Daily Profits Live, a part of the Monument Traders Alliance. Same guys as like War Room, Brian Bartarelli, and Karim Rahatulam, just different rooms, but same group. It was so cool though to be able to make my own trade. And then today I did the exact same thing. I saw this gap. I was like, hey, this is up like 3.75, of what, this intended move was, the expected move was. Like, this is going to squeeze him hard. I entered that trade. I just rolled over the profits that I had from yesterday's trade, because yesterday was a really great trading day, and I just rolled most of those into that trade today. And I put like 3 grand in, and I ended up making $3,000 of profit. I walked away from that trade literally with $6,000. It was epic. So to have 2 wins back to back, literally, to have made over $13,000 today, in 90 minutes, or somewhere between like 60 and 90 minutes, which is absolutely insane. I made $3,000. That $3,000 made that in about 30 minutes, on that, 1.5 play. And it was just crazy. Like, I mean, if you think about it, like, I make $70,000 a year. I think that's somewhere around the ballpark of like $5,500 a month. Let's see, 70,000 divided by 12. $5,800, 5833.3333. So 5,833. I almost made triple that. I made well over a W. Probably at, let's see, if I 2 times 2.5, that's 14.5. I made about 2.5 times, a little under 2.5 times what I make an entire month in real estate. I just made in 90 minutes in stocks. And that's how you compress time. That's what I am so pumped about. Like, I feel like I finally found my niche, guys. Like, I can't even explain how pumped I am right now. Feels amazing. So even though we've been going through some warfare, we're going through some tough stuff. I had my most profitable day yesterday at 61.5%. And then I had a new record again today at 107 point something percent. Like, I'm just beyond excited. It's not even funny. And then I had the 1.5 place working, and we've got other stuff where it's just like, wow, I finally feel like I'm seeing the light at the end of that tunnel. And Libby's custom art project's going really well, and I'm super excited for her. She should be finishing that up here in the coming weeks. She's got a lot of ideas, for stuff she wants to be able to do on the art side. And, we're just kind of taking a breath here. We're just kind of recovering. It's been a difficult transition to sell our house, move into the trailer, and change our budget and all this kind of stuff. We've done all this before. This is the third business for me to try to build. It's the first time for Libby to really try to build up a business. But I think both of us are a little bit gun shy from getting too excited, because we've been burned in the past thinking that something's going to work and ultimately it fails. And that's painful, because you set your hopes, you set your expectations of something working, and then it fails. And it's like, it feels just completely crushing. So we're not trying to just bank all of our hopes on this, but we are putting a lot into this, and we're really excited about what we're seeing right now. We're trying to keep a level head, move forward one day at a time. So my goal right now is, I think I was down like 700 and what was it? I have the picture here. I was down in October, 743.1%. So I'm now up 306.93%. And so my goal is to get all the way up to break even, and above that. So where I'm actually in the positive. So I've made up all that lost ground with sniping, and then we're going to go real money. That's a big mountain to overcome, and I'm almost halfway there in 2 weeks. I can't believe it. In one day, I literally made up almost, uh, oh, man, 15% of that journey. I mean, it's just, I'm pumped right now. But like I said, just trying to stay level headed about it. Not get too big for my britches, just a day at a time. Um, so yeah, with that said, guys, I think this is a great place to pause the episode. You know, if you're thinking about getting out of the boat and you're on the fence, I encourage you to get out of the boat. Walk this amazing life adventure with Jesus. If you don't know Jesus, even if you've been burned by the religion of Christianity before, I get it. I've seen some Christianity done in a crappy way. But I would encourage you to pursue an intimate, personal relationship with Jesus because it's absolutely life changing. With all that said, guys, let's say our identity mantra and get out of here. I explore the unknown. I conquer new frontiers. My journey is powerful, and my wake is a wealthy legacy. As a reminder, guys, wealthy is simply the ability to cover your monthly expenses without having to lift a finger. It's moving from active income to active investment income to passive investment income. Working for your money, trading your time for money, and then you now have some extra money, trade your time and money for money, which is exactly what I'm doing right here in stocks and how I'm seeing these big gains. So, like in my job at real estate, I'm trading my time for money. Right here with the stocks, I'm trading my time and money for money. So I'm seeing better returns. And ultimately, the fullness of financial freedom rests in me being able to have so much money that I'm able to put that and it just pays me out like in dividends or something like that. It's just paying me out, paying me out, paying me out. I'm not having to lift a finger, truly passive investment income. And the way we define legacy here, guys, is leaving a long lasting impact on others who come after you as they receive the fruit of your labor, whether that fruit be good or bad. And the way you produce good fruit is you plant good seeds, cultivate good trees, and eventually you have the good fruit that you're looking for. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like the episode. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps the algorithm, helps us to grow, helps us to share with more people. Also, don't forget, whether you're listening to the podcast version or the YouTube version, down in the description of the video is a link to the Wealthy Legacy Journey resources page. Has a bunch of cool investment stuff that has been amazing for me. I hope it's amazing for you guys. Also, a link to the Wealth Health Checkup to get y'all started on the right trajectory and path for your Wealthy Legacy journey. And with all that said, guys, this has been another episode dedicated to you and your own personal wealthy legacy journey. Get out there this week, take the right next steps, share your success stories with us, and I will see y'all on the next episode. Bye, everybody.